looks as you're going around the table during these frames, it looks like you're happy again.
Yeah, it is. I mean, two things. One, because I'm playing a lot better, and two, because I actually fancy the job now because I'm playing better. Where before, like I said, I wasn't playing well. I was going into matches not really confident of thinking I can win the tournament because I didn't think my game was there. Where now it's the total opposite.
What if the most despised player in snooker history was also one of the most successful? Mark Selby has won 4 World Championship titles, held the #1 ranking for a total of nearly 7 years across multiple spells, and claimed 25 ranking tournaments throughout his career. His tactical brilliance is undeniable, his mental strength legendary, and his ability to grind down opponents has earned him millions in prize money. But here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody in snooker wants to admit. Mark Selby might be the most universally disliked champion the sport has ever produced.
And how hard you are when you start playing. How much of that is just in someone instinctively, and how much of that is honed over the years? Have you always had that ability to switch mentally at key moments in snooker?
I don't think I've always had it. It's something my father tried to install in me when I was playing, when I was a lot younger.
The reasons go deeper than just his playing style. For over 2 decades, Mark Selby has been the master of making snooker unwatchable. While other players entertain crowds with flowing breaks and spectacular pots, Selby turns every match into a war of attrition. He slows the game to a crawl, plays endless safety shots, and frustrates opponents until they crack under the pressure. The result? Empty seats, declining television audiences, and a generation of fans who associate professional snooker with tedium rather than excitement. Yet somehow, this approach has made him one of the most successful players in the sport's history. The jester from Leicester, as he's known, didn't start out as snooker's villain. Born in Leicester in 1983, Selby showed early promise as a junior player. He turned professional in 1999 at just 16 years old, full of ambition and raw talent. Back then, he played with freedom, attempting ambitious shots and showing flashes of genuine brilliance. Everything changed when he realized that winning mattered more than entertaining. Selby's transformation into snooker's most feared tactician began around 2007. He'd been struggling to break through at the highest level, reaching a few semi-finals, but never quite getting over the line. That's when he made a conscious decision to prioritize safety play over attacking flair. The results were immediate and devastating. His first major breakthrough came at the 2008 Masters tournament. Playing against established stars like Stephen Hendry, Stephen Maguire, and Ken Doherty, Selby employed a methodical approach that frustrated his more attacking opponents. He edged out all 3 on a 6-5 scoreline before demolishing Stephen Lee 10-3 in the final. He didn't just win matches, he suffocated them, long periods without a single pot. Frame after frame decided by a single mistake from his increasingly agitated opponent. The snooker world took notice, but not in the way Selby might have hoped. Commentators began using coded language to describe his playing style. Tactically astute became shorthand for boring. Mentally strong meant he was willing to kill any excitement in a match. Methodical translated to glacially slow. Meanwhile, television producers watched in horror as viewing figures plummeted whenever Selby appeared on screen. But Selby didn't care about popularity. He cared about winning. His first World Championship triumph in 2014 perfectly encapsulated everything that made him both brilliant and insufferable. The final against Ronnie O'Sullivan was supposed to be a showcase of attacking snooker. Instead, it became a 32-frame masterclass in tactical warfare. Selby turned the match into a grueling examination of patience and nerve, coming back from 10-5 down to eventually win 18 frames to 14. The victory should have been celebrated as a triumph of determination over natural talent. Instead, it felt like a funeral for entertaining snooker. O'Sullivan, never one to hide his feelings, was visibly frustrated throughout the match. At one point, he spent over 10 minutes at the table, without attempting a single pot, engaging in the kind of tactical exchange that makes casual fans switch channels. When Selby finally lifted the trophy, the applause felt polite rather than enthusiastic. This pattern would repeat itself throughout Selby's career. His second world title in 2016 came after another final that tested the patience of everyone watching. This time, his opponent was Ding Junhui, a player known for his attacking instincts and crowd-pleasing style. Selby systematically dismantled Ding's natural game, forcing him into long tactical battles that played directly into the Leicester man's strengths. The final lasted over 11 hours across 2 days. Television executives privately questioned whether this was the kind of product they wanted to broadcast during prime time. Yet Selby's tactical brilliance couldn't be denied. He'd identified his opponent's weaknesses and exploited them ruthlessly. By now, other players were openly expressing their frustration with Selby's approach. Stuart Bingham, after losing to Selby in a particularly slow encounter, told reporters that watching paint dry would be more entertaining. Judd Trump suggested that Selby was single-handedly responsible for driving young fans away from the sport. Even snooker legends like Jimmy White questioned whether this style of play was healthy for snooker's future. Selby's response was characteristically blunt. Winning was his job, entertaining was secondary. His third world title in 2017 provided perhaps the most damning evidence of his impact on the sport. The final against John Higgins, himself a four-time world champion and one of snooker's greatest all-rounders, became a tactical slog that tested everyone's endurance. Frames regularly lasted over 40 minutes. The longest frame stretched to 53 minutes without a single century break. Television audiences in the United Kingdom dropped to their lowest levels in over a decade. Social media exploded with complaints about the quality of the final. Some viewers organized campaigns encouraging the sport's governing body to implement shot clocks to prevent such tedious encounters. Yet Selby lifted his third world trophy, seemingly oblivious to the criticism swirling around him. The numbers told the story of his dominance. Between 2014 and 2021, Selby finished as season-ending world number 1 on 7 successive occasions. His ranking points were accumulated through a grinding, methodical approach that prioritized consistency over spectacular victories. While other players produced highlight reel moments, Selby produced results. His fourth world championship in 2021 should have been the crowning achievement of his career. Instead, it felt like the final nail in the coffin of entertaining snooker. The final against Shaun Murphy was another marathon encounter that stretched across multiple sessions and left both players looking physically exhausted. Murphy, normally one of the most gracious players in defeat, couldn't hide his frustration afterward. He suggested that Selby's style was turning snooker into a test of endurance rather than skill. The comment sparked a heated exchange in the press that highlighted the deep divisions within the sport about what constituted acceptable tactics. But perhaps the most telling criticism came from within Selby's own camp. His longtime coach, Chris Henry, admitted in a rare interview that they had deliberately developed Selby's tactical approach to exploit weaknesses in modern snooker. The shot clock, introduced to speed up play, had actually made Selby's style more effective by putting additional pressure on opponents who preferred flowing, instinctive play. The admission confirmed what many had suspected. Selby's boring style wasn't accidental, but calculated. This revelation transformed the conversation around Selby from mere criticism to genuine concern about the sport's direction. If the most successful player of the modern era had achieved his dominance by making snooker less entertaining, what did that say about the sport's rules and structure? Tournament organizers began experimenting with format changes designed to encourage more attacking play. Prize money structures were adjusted to reward century breaks and maximum breaks. Some events introduced time limits to prevent excessively long frames. none of these changes significantly impacted Selby's effectiveness. He adapted to every rule modification with the same methodical approach that had made him champion. When shot clocks were tightened, he practiced playing at exactly the maximum allowed pace. When bonus points were awarded for attacking play, he calculated precisely when tactical play remained more profitable. The jester from Leicester had become snooker's ultimate problem without a solution. His rivalry with Ronnie O'Sullivan perfectly illustrated the philosophical divide he represented. O'Sullivan, widely regarded as the most naturally gifted player in snooker history, played with flair and instinct that thrilled audiences worldwide. Selby approached their encounters like mathematical equations to be solved rather than entertainment to be provided. Their head-to-head record became a fascinating study in contrasting approaches. O'Sullivan possessed superior natural talent and could produce moments of genius that left crowds gasping. But Selby's tactical discipline often neutralized that brilliance, turning their matches into wars of attrition that favored his methodical style. The psychological impact on O'Sullivan was visible. A player who thrived on rhythm and flow found himself dragged into the kind of tactical battles he despised. Sometimes he would lose focus entirely, playing reckless shots just to escape the grinding nature of their encounters. Yet Selby showed no mercy, no recognition that he might be killing the very thing that made snooker special. His approach extended beyond individual matches to entire tournaments. Selby's presence in a draw often meant that casual fans would avoid watching altogether. Television schedulers learned to expect lower ratings whenever he reached a final. Sponsors questioned whether associating their brands with such tedious entertainment made commercial sense. The contradiction was striking. The most successful player was also the least marketable. Selby's influence on younger players became another source of controversy. Promising juniors began copying his tactical approach, prioritizing safety play over the attacking flair that had traditionally made snooker exciting. Youth tournaments became increasingly defensive affairs, as players learned that boring snooker was winning snooker. Coaching academies started teaching Selby's methods as the optimal path to professional success. The message was clear: entertainment might win over fans, but tactical discipline won tournaments and prize money. This trend alarmed snooker's traditionalists, who feared for the sport's future. Stephen Hendry, himself a tactical master during his playing career, warned that snooker was becoming too defensive. John Virgo suggested that the sport needed to find ways to reward attacking play more heavily. Even Barry Hearn, the sport's chief promoter, admitted that Selby-style matches presented significant challenges for television broadcasting. Yet Selby continued his relentless march towards snooker immortality, seemingly indifferent to these concerns. His statistics tell the story of unprecedented success built on an unpopular foundation. 4 world championships place him among the sport's elite. 25 ranking titles demonstrate remarkable consistency across different formats and conditions. Over 4 years continuously as world number 1 proves sustained excellence at the highest level. But those same statistics raise uncomfortable questions about what success means in modern professional sport. The jester from Leicester represents snooker's greatest paradox: a player whose individual brilliance may have damaged the sport he dominated. His tactical genius is undeniable, his mental strength legendary, and his competitive record extraordinary. Yet his legacy remains deeply controversial among fans, players, and administrators who witnessed his impact on snooker's entertainment value. Mark Selby proved that in professional sport, being right and being popular are rarely the same thing. Today, as his career enters its final phase, Selby remains defiant about his methods. He's never apologized for prioritizing victory over entertainment, never expressed regret about the criticism his style attracted. In his mind, he played within the rules and maximized his talents to achieve unprecedented success. The question that will define his legacy isn't whether he was successful. The trophies and rankings confirm that beyond doubt. The question is whether his success came at too high a cost to the sport that made him rich and famous. Mark Selby. The snooker player nobody liked, but everybody feared. And perhaps, in the end, that's exactly how he wanted it.